Yo, it's your boy King Dave here, and this is the Felon Show. Hope all is going well. I'm assuming I'm going live, so my mic seems good. The video seems alright. I'll just if people could just comment and just see if it's going all goods. But yeah. Hey Mutton Chop, hey John Ross, that's my boy there. He's got an awesome Instagram. He's got an awesome Instagram channel, called Mudflood NZ. So if you've got a Instagram account, definitely go check that out, Mudflood NZ. But yeah, now this is the Felon Show, man. So again, shit is getting crazy. I'm telling you, man. It's just everything's been good, but I mean, just everything that's going on in the world right now, man. It's just it's getting full on, man. Like I've even started going back to church, believe it or not. So yeah, man, I don't necessarily agree with everything they say. I'm not a religious bloke or anything like that. I do read the Bible every day though, but I wouldn't call myself religious. They've just completely corrupted it. But I just started going to church just to be around people worshiping. You know what I mean? Like it's a good feeling, man, when you're in the church and everyone's just praising and singing and just believing in that higher power. But man, I'm telling you, like even in the churches, you know what I mean? Like all the pastors, and I've gone to a few different churches because I go to different ones, you know what I mean? And man, everybody's talking about it, you know what I mean? The pastors and things, like everybody's saying that this is the end of days, you know what I mean? Like yeah, even in the churches, they're just saying all the signs are there. The second coming is here. You know what I mean? So again, I'm excited. It's just, this is an exciting time, man. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna be writing the people that stand up now and fight this fight. They might even write another Bible about us. You know what I mean? I never know, but yeah, man, it's an exciting time that we're in, man. So yeah, but now this is the Felon Show, man, with King Dave. Today we're going to be looking at the Savage Club. All right, so we're going to be looking into a little bit about Māori history. Now I'm not trying to offend anyone, you know what I mean? So this is a trigger warning. Like me myself, man, like I'm Māori, you know what I mean? Like even my Māori family doesn't sort of agree with some of the things I think about, the resets and history and how history is fabricated here in New Zealand. But it's the truth, you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to trigger anyone here, but just keep an open mind, you know what I mean? And just because even people have I've seen on Instagram, you know what I mean, a lot of people that are Māori or native New Zealand, even they were talking about it, like just our history doesn't make any sense. There's so many holes. But when you sort of ask the elders and all of that, sort of the older kaumatuas and all of that, they just sort of brush it off, you know what I mean? But there's so many holes, you know what I mean, in our history. Just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, so we're going to be looking into the Savage Club, which was actually a cult. And we're going to look into that, but they adopted Māori culture, you know what I mean? But it's a strange story. It's almost as if this cult may have come first and created the Māori culture. Now, yeah, again, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but from there we're going to be looking into the exhibitions, the New Zealand exhibitions, the worldwide exhibitions, and how they had New Zealand stuff in them, like the ones in London in 1951. They had New Zealand displays, and all of these world fairs had displays of Māori culture. But it's just like, did they really come from New Zealand? You know what I mean? Did they really bring these displays from New Zealand all the way out to London in 1851? You know what I mean? I question that. So I question what we're being told about our culture. And yeah, so I'll just quickly look back here, make sure everything's all good. Yeah, nah, everyone's in the chat. My boy Polar Bear's there. Hard to believe. Much love. Soul Power. What's up? Forge 721. Dave and Jess Santiago. 2CXRP. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but what's up, my bro? Yeah, nah. So much love, everyone in the chat. Super Samodi. Yeah, mad name. Yeah, nah. So we're on, fam. We're on. So I'll just go back here and we'll just start looking into this. Oh, wrong one. So I'll just alright, so this is the Savage Club. So this is what's known as the Savage Club. So this was a gentleman's club founded in 1857 and was named after the poet Richard Savage. So that's what they tell us anyway. But this was basically a collection of, actors and lawyers, and so it's basically a secret society in plain sight. You know what I mean? Many of the original members were Bohemian journalists and writers for the Illustrated London News, so they controlled a lot of the media. But these people were all around the world. They came here to New Zealand. They had a lot of notable members. They were Masonic as well, you know what I mean? So they are linked with the Freemasons. Bear with me, this is going somewhere, but so this is their headquarters, you know what I mean? I doubt that they built that. I'm not sure when they're saying they did build it, but 1850s, I doubt that they built that. This is one of the... So this is the bloke that sent out invitation letters to the founding meeting of the club. He's got his little hidden hand there. So Freemasonic, all the symbolism is there. This is the poet Savage. There's barely anything you can find out about these guys. But these are just some of the posters. This was a weird group. You know what I mean? Very strange group. This was some of their posters, as I said before, and as you can see, there's all of this tribalism stuff in it. You've got these here, these masks and things. So this was before they came to New Zealand, but they've got the axe, they've got all of this tribal stuff. So these people went across the world, you know what I mean? So maybe they have to do with a lot of the native cultures around the world, maybe, you know what I mean? But anyway, and you've got these pyramids here as well. You've got these masks, just very strange. Here's some more posters. So anyway, even here, you've got the Savage Club. So this is their Hong Kong one apparently, and it's got the Native American symbol there. So they're trying to say that they went out and adopted the native cultures of the world, but I think it's the other way around, to be honest. I think they just flipped it around because, as you can see here, the Savage Club, founded in London by journalists and artists, was established in Invercargill in 1885 and spread around New Zealand. The club provided members with the opportunity to perform on stage with regular evenings of singing, musical items and recitations. In New Zealand, members adopted a quasi-Māori ritual. Their leaders were called rangatira and ariki. Members dressed up in piu-piu, flax kilts and carried plastic mere clubs. So this was back in 1885. So in New Zealand Māori, rangatira and ariki, those are the names for the leaders. And then in 1885, the Savage Club was already adopting all of that. So it's very strange. So we'll continue on. So not only was it the Savage Club, but they had an orphan club as well, which is a strange name. So they were connected. But in the mid-1800s, a group of actors, musicians, literary and art people who used to meet in a pub, they decided to form their own club. So I'll leave all these links in the description after the live so you guys can have a gaze. But once it was formed, they needed a name. They called it Savage Club. Over the years, many famous people visited the London Savage Club. The royal family, Mark Twain, Lord Kitchen, Somerset, Sir Ernest Shackleton, Prince Philip, Sir Robert Menzies. So these dudes were all connected with this Savage Club. And even here in New Zealand, there are a lot of famous people involved. They came here in Dunedin, Auckland and Invercargill. There were 46 clubs around New Zealand. Such was the growth that they had closed membership, and a breakaway group was formed under the name the Orphans Club. So there's barely anything you can find out about these groups, but there's a little bit. But strange name, isn't it? The Orphans Club. So the Savage Club came here, and then there was an offshoot called the Orphans Club. And we know that there were a lot of orphans, you know what I mean? So it's just, but anyway, so they made the Association of Kindred Clubs of New Zealand, so that together they were called the Kindred Clubs. So yeah, so there was the Savage Club, and then they created an offshoot called the Orphans Club. But so this is a group photograph of Savage Club members in front of an unidentified meeting house. So their meeting houses where the Savage Club used to meet up were actually what we call here in New Zealand maraes. So it just gets even stranger, because these people back in 1885, this isn't from 1885, but from as far back as 1885, they were using these marae type buildings as meeting places for their group. So when you sort of look back in New Zealand history and you see the maraes across New Zealand, it's sort of like, well, then are they these meeting houses for this club, or is it the native Māori meeting houses, because they look exactly the same? And as you can see here, you know, they had 46 clubs across New Zealand. So I'm not sure how many marae there are across New Zealand, native marae, but it's very strange. And, you know, you've got in here in the middle, you know, you've got supposed Māori people in there. And the thing about this group as well is that they used to dress up as women. They did a lot of weird stuff, because it's meant to be a men's group, but they used to dress up as women as well. Here's Mr. DS of the Savage Club. You've got people dressed up weird with these head things. Got a ring around the nose like something, I don't know. And this is one of this is their Wanganui, you can't see good here, but this is their Wanganui clubhouse, and in the inside it just looks like a marae, like what we perceive as the native. And even here, you know, you've got scenes from some of their, because they used to do really weird plays and things like that, and as you can see here, you've got men dressed up as women. So there's all of these men dressed as women, and as we all know, you know, a lot of the celebrities and a lot of these famous, even these people in positions of power in the government that are supposedly women, are actually men. So maybe. So just a lot of these groups are just into really weird stuff. But there was some more here, but so yeah, the Savage Club used to adopt all Māori culture. So I'll keep going on. So yeah, you know, like this is the Wanganui Savage Club here, and as you can see, you know, this is just it looks very similar to a Māori native marae. You know what I mean? It's got all of the taniwha carvings and things. Obviously this is a cheaper version, but yeah, it's something to note of, you know. And so just even here, you know, this is the Savage Club. So they used to dress as Māori warriors, and they use all of the carvings and things. It's just, yeah, it's just, well, I'll continue on. So this is the Wanganui Savage Club. So here is some of the stuff in the meeting houses. So this is the Wanganui Savage Club, as you can see here, and they've just completely adopted what we perceive as Māori culture. So if this started back in 1885, and we include, you know, the resets and all of that, I'm gonna say that these people created, you know, as crazy as this may sound, they invented this culture from a cult. You know what I mean? So culture, you know, culture. So well, culture, you know, culture. So yeah, it's just, and even their opening ode, they sing it in Māori, in the Māori language. So it's just, and even their opening ode, it says, "We are here, O savage members, to see this grim night through, with music, song and story. We have it in for you, but cheer up, O ye members, for though the program jars, the hour will come when we'll send you home with haere tonu rā." And then, so they sing it in Māori, you know what I mean? And this could have been the song that they were using all the way back in 1885. And "We are hero savage members, to suffer as you will. Through most of your performers we'll dearly like to kill. We'll clap as though we like it and loudly shout ha ha, while all the time we're hoping you will haere tonu rā." So it's just very strange that they're using this song and that they're also speaking the Māori language in it. So this is their introduction song from, you know, the opening ode. This has been around since 1885. Like, it's just very strange. And then it's like, when you think of, you know, the haka and things like that, it's like, really, what are they actually saying? You know what I mean? Like, what are we actually saying when we do the haka? You know what I mean? Like, because I will say that the suicide rate here in New Zealand, like, look, I'm just, you know, speedballing ideas, but the suicide rate here in New Zealand is the highest in the world. So it's like trust me, there's people killing themselves left and right in this country. Like, coming from Australia, when I used to live in Australia, it's just the crime rate, the suicide rate here is unbelievable. And it's like, it's especially among young Māori. So it's like, is this actually a cult? You know, have they just spun everything around? I mean, look, they're all wearing the Māori. So did they actually invent this culture as some sort of a death culture? You know what I mean? Like, even here you've got, so this is 1933, you know, and see, Wanganui Savage Club, haka. And as you can see here, they've all got their tongue poked out. So I want you guys to remember that they've got their tongue poked out in a certain direction. And when the Māori people are actually doing something very similar, where they've all got that tongue stuck out to one side like that. And even a lot of celebrities do it now, you know what I mean? Like Miley Cyrus and all of that. So who really knows what that represents? But yeah, and then here's inside one of their meeting houses, you know, they've got all of the designs here. Yeah, so we're just connecting dots here, fam. We're just, you know, connecting dots, not trying to offend anyone. But, you know, so these are actual Māori meeting houses, you know, the old ones back in the day. And to be honest, they just look exactly the same as the meeting houses that they were using, you know what I mean, that these Savage Club were using. Because if we are going off the resets, you know what I mean, you know, like, look, this is 1880, you know, and look at the people, you know, look how well dressed they are. You know, like, Māori native people shouldn't have been dressed this nice. Like, these clothes look new. It looks like they've just been given these clothes and told to take a picture and go standing there, you know. So yeah, because if there was a reset back in the 1800s, that would mean that the people that ended up becoming the Māori people, these people were brought in from somewhere else and basically given a culture. So were they given this culture by the Savage Club? So this is the Live-In Savage Club, and again, you've got the Māori meeting house in the background. You've got these weird designs here, that they're using. Just very strange. And then here's the Orphan Club, so this was the offshoot of the Savage Club. So did the Savage Club sort of bring in a whole bunch of orphans and teach them a whole bunch of stuff? So if you look at this, so this is the Orphan Club, and they just used to do all of this really weird stuff. If you look into some of the other stuff I've done on secret societies, they all used to do really weird stuff. They dressed as women, you know what I mean? So they're dressed as babies, like, it's just these really weird stuff. They're just weirdos, I don't know why. Maybe they have to make fun of themselves to appease their god or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, so that's the Orphans Club. These are strange people. Even here, the Wellington Savage Club, you had the presidents who were chief savages and patrons who were ariki nui of the Savage Club. Look, a second board continues the list. Included among the patrons are prominent figures in New Zealand's history, including Lord Bledisloe, Sir Bernard Freyberg, Ati Hon, Sir Keith, Honourable Sir David Beatty. So these were famous people that were involved in this group, and so if we'll just continue on here, like other savage clubs in New Zealand, the Wellington Club appropriated aspects of Māori culture to develop club ceremonies and rituals. The leader wore a necklace adorned with a hitiki. The club rooms were decorated with figurines of Māori warriors and panels carved with Māori patterns, and members used wooden wahaika, presumably during evening entertainments called kōrero. In the early years, the Savage Club did have some Māori members, and Thomas Allen suggested in a study of Wellington and Hawera clubs that many of the club's activities were in genuine homage to Māori. But I think that they invented this cult, this culture. It's just very strange. So again, I'll leave these in the description after, so you guys can all have a look at this. But again, Lord Bledisloe, these were famous people that were involved in this club. And then we'll go on here. So another interesting sort of thing that I made was that so all of these exhibitions across the world had New Zealand Māori cultures in them. So this is the building at the Great Exhibition of 1851 in London. So this is like the Crystal Palace and that. So they supposedly built all of this in 1851. I mean, look at that. Look how huge this thing was. This place is huge. And look at that, it just doesn't match. Nothing matches up, you know what I mean? You've got horse and cart, you've got you don't even have roads here, you've got trees all around it. It's just, it doesn't fit. Obviously doesn't fit. Who knows how long this actually took to build. They probably say it took a couple months. But even at this exhibition, they had this color print of the interior of the Crystal Palace, one of the buildings housing the 1851 Great Exhibition in London, was produced by the Dickinson brothers in 1854. The New Zealand section can be seen on the left of the image at the back wall. A Māori waka appears to be raised in the center of the display. So back in 1851, fam. So New Zealand just was colonized in 1840, fam. 1840, and then already 11 years later, they already had an exhibition in London showcasing Māori culture. So this is why I question, so this is meant to be a New Zealand waka here. So this is why I question, I mean, even if you look closer, but that's why I question about where Māori culture actually comes from and what it actually is, because these exhibitions already had depictions of Māori culture. That's why I'm going to say that Māori culture isn't from New Zealand. It may have just been a cult and they turned it into a culture here in New Zealand. As crazy as that sounds, but it's just, it doesn't make sense that in 1851 there was already displays of wakas and things in all the way out in London. You know what I mean? So and then even when you go on here into other international exhibitions, you've got the London International Exhibition, 1862. New Zealand had a prominent position at the 1862 in front of the colonial courts. As you can see here, so the exhibition, or the Māori display, there was also a display of Māori weaving and a waka, so a waka again. So that, as you can see here in the background, so that's meant to be a waka there as well, with the paddles and things. As you can see here, this was even like the taniwha. So those are like the tikis basically. And yeah, this was in 1862. You know what I mean? So there was still a war going on in New Zealand, and they were able to ship all of that apparently over to London. And then you've got here another. So this was also at the. Oh, hold on. So this was a Māori tomb at the Colonial and Indian Exhibition in London again. So they brought a tomb, they reckon, all the way over from, look, the Māori display also included an impressive Pātaka storehouse from Te Arawa, extension collections of woven mats, models of waka again, so the canoes, cases of adzes and weapons. The material had been collected by naturalist Walter Buller. Other sections included, fernery, furniture. So back in 1886, it's just, I don't know, man. I just don't think that this came from New Zealand. You know what I mean? I reckon that it was the other way around, and they, through these, if this wasn't Māori, then whatever this was, it was brought to New Zealand as the native culture, when that's not actually, what it was. So I'm gonna say that this was a part of this savage club. This was a part of this cult, and because it's not just New Zealand, like they brought native cults across the world, to all the islands, to the Native Americans. Like as you can see here, the Hong Kong ones, the Savage Club. They've got the native insignia here, so it's not just New Zealand. They went around. So I will go into other exhibitions. I'm just quickly looking into this, but yeah, they took it across the world. And because when you really look at it, it is a death cult. You know what I mean? When you can see their the sort of things that they were saying, in this opening ode, about we are here, it's a grim night, we'll dearly like to kill. This was some sort of a death cult, so but yeah, so anyway, this is at some of the other exhibitions. So this is like the moa skeleton. So they tell us that there were moa here in New Zealand, which was a huge extinct bird, but I just reckon that's a throw off, because there are huge bones that are found here in New Zealand, which were most likely giants. You know what I mean? So I have gotten messages from people where there were stories of, up north they did find giants' bones, but they were basically sworn to secrecy and weren't allowed to talk about it. And most of the time they would just say that they were moa or something like that, but there were giants in this country. And they just say, it's just like the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs never existed. They just, it's just the throw off. So when they find bones, they can say, oh yeah, it's dinosaurs, when they were actually humans. Oh, well, not humans, but they weren't dinosaurs, And even here, New Zealand caught at the Sydney International Exhibition. In the background are two obelisks representing the amount of gold produced by Hokitika and Greymouth fields. So if you look at my last live stream, we know that there was no gold rush here. So why would they have obelisks representing New Zealand? You've got some sort of a lighthouse thing here, energy gathering device maybe. But yeah, so again, why have you got an obelisk and things representing New Zealand? Maybe they did find a whole bunch of gold here, but not in the way that we think they did. But yeah, and then even here, so this is another exhibition, colonial and Indian exhibition in London, 1886. So here you might even have, native cultures from across the world, that were invented by these people, maybe. But yeah, that does fit in with what I was saying, that these people went across the world, and with all of these native cultures, and just basically went around inventing them, if that makes any sense. But and then we'll just look onto here. And then even here, so you've got this carved storehouse was displayed amid large grasses and ferns in the 1888 Melbourne Centennial Exhibition. It had originally been carved in the 1850s for Ngāti Pikio, so that's like a tribe here in New Zealand, and stood at the Lake Roto. They just put it in this Melbourne exhibition. And who knows really what this was, though, where it actually came from. Again, it could have just been from this cult. But yeah, so this is 1888 in Melbourne, and they're saying that they brought this whole thing over. So if you do know anything about Māori carving, it would have been very difficult and strenuous for them to have brought that all the way from New Zealand. Like, very strenuous. Like, the wood they use in that isn't light, what I mean? So they would have struggled to bring that from New Zealand, what I mean? Well, and then never mind all the grand architecture that's popping up at the same time. Like, this is just wood. Imagine the marble and the stone and all of that. But so these are these exhibitions. So they had this Māori culture all across the world. London, and at all of these exhibitions, it all got a showcasing. I'll just go back here. So these are the international exhibitions, and then these are the New Zealand. Even at the St. Louis exhibition. There was represented here, with so this is it here. See, look again there. So this is, you've got the carvings here, but you've got nothing to say that this actually had anything to do with New Zealand. You know what I mean? But you've got these carvings here. So where did these carvings actually come from? And did they actually originate from here in New Zealand? Because I just can't see it that they would have shipped all of these things all across. But could be wrong. But and then even here you've got a building was designed by local architects Mason and Clayton. All of those they apparently designed all of these buildings in Dunedin. Most impressive structure in the city. It was subsequently used as a part of the public hospital. So that's the Dunedin exhibition. Then here you've got the New Zealand International Exhibition 1882. And this is while a war's apparently just finishing up. Like in 1865 there was meant to be a huge war going on here. between the natives, and they found time to, you know, build up all of this stuff. This is the New Zealand International Exhibition in Christchurch. The exhibition was located on a 1.8 hectare site. Although more than 200,000 people visited in its 14-week season, the exhibition lost money. So 200,000 people in New Zealand at that time is just beyond crazy. But you know, as you can see here, you've got this stuff. You've got all of this grand stuff here. People just standing around, or sitting around, staring at the camera. So they obviously know that this guy's taking a shot. You've got this fountain here. Yeah, just look at all of that. Look at the cornices, look at the capitals, the columns, the statues, you know, 1882, fam. Yeah, so then we'll go on. Wallpaper design. You've got another exhibition in Dunedin, 1890. This was the South Seas exhibition. I mean, barely any people standing around. They've all obviously just been told to look busy and look around. It attracted 600,000 people, slightly fewer than the country's population at the time. So basically the whole New Zealand population came to this place, apparently, from across the world. I mean, come on, fam. Come on. Artworks, again, you got two people sitting around. Really nice artwork, though, if it is painted artwork, which I doubt. But yeah, just strange, isn't it? Very strange. You got this here diorama, and you got the Jubilee. So yeah, so, and then these are like the you know, some Māori native. So this here is so this is, you know, the American Indians. This is a New Zealand carved post. And then they even note that there are gargoyles as well. So there are gargoyles here as well, but all very similar. So again, it goes back to the Savage Club, you know what I mean? Did they just go around the world and turn basically their cult into cultures, you know what I mean? Like, because this is a Māori depiction, but this doesn't look like today what we would call Māori, you know what I mean? It does sort of, but I mean, it's just, yeah, very, very strange, you know? So yeah, so that's the Savage Club, and that's sort of the weird stuff that that they were into. So I'll come back quickly. So that was the Savage Club anyway. So yeah, so they used to use you know, Māori, native Māori. Okay, so I'll just go back. Yeah, sorry if I was lagging a bit there, fam. Yeah, so researcher Vinny East would say, stop talking about this, bro. My handlers don't like it. Yeah, yeah, good one, brother, good one. But yeah, so hopefully you guys could see that all right. That might have been my end. But yeah, no, so that is the hold up, I'll just, yeah, so that's the Savage Club, and just all of these exhibitions across the world. It may be lagging a bit as well because it's raining. Just started raining. But yeah, no, so that Savage Club, yeah, I'm gonna say that they had a lot to do with these cults or cultures that have gone across the world. Doesn't make sense, you know what I mean, about all of these Māori displays and all of these exhibitions across the world? Like, how could they have brought all of those displays to all of those different places? I mean, they could have, but it's just, yeah, it's just more bullshit, I reckon. Was introduced, yeah, like they obviously introduced. New Zealand's total population of the time was less than one. They're saying, hold on. So they're saying that double New Zealand's population was a part of this.